I seen up on the social medias that there's quite a few of y'all that's getting off the Trump train now. And I could tell by the way that it was, because they were upset about being manipulated and played like that. They didn't like that. They felt humiliated.
In Georgia, rising economic pressure is fueling a wave of concern and frustration across the state. In this video, you'll hear first-hand accounts from residents describing how these changes are affecting their lives. Listen closely. These are the stories behind Georgia's growing uproar.
Why no town hall? Why won't he let us air personally, to him personally, these concerns we have?
I was willing to listen to him when he refuses to have a town hall.
I'd also like to speak to the fact that as a group and as individuals, many of us have requested meetings with Representative Clyde, and they are never responded to. I know that when he was on his break, he's been meeting with his own donors and holding private events, and the public is not, ever welcome to them. Especially since we've been showing up here and he's never in the office. So.
Make it easy on you. I just want to have a town hall. Sure. Okay. Thank you.
This is my 5th visit to this office this year. I have continually written to Congressman Clyde on his congressional email, and I have yet to receive a response that actually addresses the questions and concerns that I have raised with Congressman Clyde.
We the people demand a town hall. He needs to hear from us. We know he's talking to his friends, but we're his constituents as well. And he needs to face us. He's a coward.
Okay. I've also been in several times. I am, like everyone else, very concerned about our lack of access to our representative in Congress. And I would really like to see him hold a meeting where we can ask him questions.
My biggest concern is I would just like to have a town hall so that we can better understand where he's coming from and why would he vote for this big bad bill.
Come face your constituents, all your constituents.
As someone who was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, I wanted to make sure I said this with my whole chest. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a disgrace to the state of Georgia. She is a disgrace to the United States of America. She is a disgrace to humanity itself.
Well, welcome everyone.
Stop. Are you really doing it? Really?
Thank you. If you want to sit and listen, you're welcome to listen. Everyone across the aisle. And President Trump has been lied about by Democrats, has been lied about by the press. I mean, Russia collusion, come on. I haven't seen the press apologize for that. And many people, unfortunately, are still brainwashed on those lies. You can head out. The protest is outside. Thank you very much. Protest is outside. Protest is outside. Bye. Have fun out there. Pause that for a second. Kayla. Thank you. Rewind that.
Taser him.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
A few weeks ago, I made a video about the data center being proposed in Hall County, Georgia, the one that there was a secret meeting held about it between the Planning and Zoning Commission chair and several other members. Here's where it gets rocky. So the land is being listed for sale by the Norton Agency, and it's being listed for a total of $4.75 million. However, the total payout to Norton has not been listed, neither has the commission rate. There are two key players here. Jeff Stowe, who is a District 4 commissioner, he also works for the Norton Agency. Then let's talk about Chris Braswell. Not only is he the Planning and Zoning Commission chair, he's also a listing agent for the Norton Agency, as well as senior VP and partner for Norton Commercial. Do y'all smell what I'm smelling?
Since my last video, things are getting pretty rough in Georgia. I mean, there was a plant in a small town that makes peanut butter just for the federal government, and they canceled the contract. They've canceled contracts with farmers because they would set aside some of their fields for conservation, and then now the federal government will not pay them the money that they signed contracts for. And now they're trying to stop the loans to Rivian, of course, because that would challenge Tesla. And there are people, international travelers are canceling their trips to Savannah. I am calling on the state of Georgia to have honor and protect its citizens as it's supposed to do.
A few years ago, the Biden administration gave us a $1 billion amount so that we could do farm to school and child daycare centers luncheons for our products. This administration killed that bill. They said they were going to replace it with some extra funding. They were going to put $52 billion instead of the $1 billion. They were going to put $52 billion in a program for commodity support. Now, we all know that 90% of the commodity support goes to wealthy farmers, absent landowners, and corporations. So who's getting the deal there?
As a matter of fact, if everybody in your church agrees with everything the minister says, you might be in a cult. We're not in a cult. Not as a party. We're not.
I'm a direct descendant of Susanna Henry Madison, one of Patrick Henry's younger sisters, and a cousin by marriage of James Madison. Do you know who Patrick Henry was and James Madison, sir? I'm so glad to hear that. While arguing the need for the American Revolution, Patrick Henry said, "A king is a tyrant. If a wrong step is made now, the republic will be lost forever and tyranny will rise." I believe you know the rest of his speech. Something about, "Give me liberty." It's clear from all the writings of our founding fathers that our great republic was never meant to be ruled by a dictator nor a king. So you can imagine my shock and pure horror when I woke up to find that our president had given himself unprecedented executive powers and then within a few days named himself king to his followers. Tyranny.
Yeah,
Tyranny.
Virginia, do you have a question for the congressman?
I do. Okay. I do. Thank you. Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you, and not listening.
Hey, let's restore some order. Let's restore some order. Hey, let's restore some order.
So
Stop
yelling at me is not going to get any answer, okay?
Hey,
like I said, we're not going to yell.
Point of order. Hey, let's get through this, Congressman. Hey.
Yeah. I've seen Game of Thrones too. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on because if you're not going to listen to the answer, we might as well not discuss it, right? Do you want to hear the answer? If you'd stop yelling, I will answer. Otherwise, we'll move on. If you would stop talking for a second, I will answer your question. Okay? So if you listen to what we've projected, and this goes both parties, by the way. This is a bipartisan problem. REINS Act, the REINS Act, which reins in executive power for both parties, whoever's in party power, and I think it could be tweaked actually to be much better. I don't think executive privilege should be as strong as it is. I think we're out of bounds right now. I think your direct representation, whether you like me or not, I'm the closest thing you have to a representative. Your senator's not going to be as representative as me, and the president's not going to be as representative as me when it comes to you, the people in this district. Likewise, I think state government needs to be more powerful than federal government. It used to be that federal funds only made up 1/3 of the money spent, and states was 2/3. It's more representative of your money and your money spent. That's better. Always push government down to the local level because you'll get better representation. I don't want to see the president make all the decisions. I don't. I answered it directly. I said, I don't want to see any president be too powerful.
We're going to move on to the next question, sir.
If we're not going to have a conversation, go ahead and move to the next question. If you're yelling, that means you're part of the problem, okay?
From rural towns to major cities, Georgians are speaking out about the financial strain they're facing. Their voices reveal the growing tension, uncertainty, and challenges reshaping daily life across the state. Let's take a closer look at what they're experiencing.
Folks, taxing the rich is not going to close our budget deficit. I hope you realize that. It really will not. It really will not. Let me ask you a question. What rate would you propose? What rate? What rate? What rate? What rate?
What's up, people? Guru here. I voted for Trump, right? I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of things I'm not happy with. First, the tariffs. They're increasing prices everywhere. Now, I mean, just real quick, pork. $10 for a thing of pork. Pork, we get a lot of our pork from Canada, Mexico, and China. Going up. Beef, now you got to be rich to eat a T-bone. And this is just basic stuff, bro. I mean, everything's going up. And it's the tariffs. They're trying to say it's Biden because Biden. No, bro. If Biden was still in office, eggs would still be at $10, but everything else would be cheaper. Everything's going up. Cars are going up 20%, 10%. Beef is went up like 25, 30%. Coffee's going up. So that I can't stand. He could have did tariffs, bought the stuff back, bought the manufacturing back without hurting poor people and middle class. If you make $250,000 a year, you probably don't give a crap, right? But usually the rich are the stingiest people, right? Now that's the tariff. Immigration. It's like this guy always shoots from the hip. Like he always does things spontaneously. Like he just don't think about it. Immigration. Oh, he does immigration. They start going after the easy targets because they don't really want to go after criminals because they're more dangerous. So they're going after farmers that are picking stuff from the farm, right? Right? And then he goes, oh, we got to protect the farm. No, duh. Who's going to do farm work? Not that immigrants are doing farm work, all of them. Only 1% are actually want to do that kind of work. But that's it. So tariffs, immigration.
Georgia Power, Georgia Power. Does anybody else's state just have a garbage power company like we do here in Georgia with Georgia Power? I mean, there's absolutely no reason your power bill should be doubled from the winter to the summer if you use almost the exact same amount of electricity. Y'all's power rates in the summer are so crazy and you set your kilowatt usage so low that nobody can avoid it. There's no possible way to avoid it. What kind of racket are y'all running? We live in a barndominium with 16 inches of wall insulation. No, we don't have the newest AC unit, but once we set it to temp and it gets there, it pretty much stays there. It's not cutting on and off to keep it at temp. We don't leave doors open all day, run a bunch of fans and a bunch of lights. But my power bill is double in the summer? Fucking explain it to me. I'll wait. Does anybody else's state have that? Does anybody else's state in the United States have just a garbage power company like Georgia Power?
Marvel Studios has announced that it will be leaving Fayette County in Georgia and taking its 20,000 jobs with it to Germany. This will add to the over 800,000 layoffs that have already occurred in the United States so far in 2025. Now, for anybody unfamiliar, this area of Georgia was kind of the unofficial film capital of the South, where companies traditionally had gone there for cheaper labor, less taxes, all of that in Georgia in order to have a good employer environment. But Marvel cited that the main driver was healthcare cost and how much it cost them versus what they would be paying in Germany to move the operations there. So again, not a good sign when you have this kind of mass influx of jobs either leaving America or companies downsizing this much for the already very inflated that economy that we have here in 2025. And I don't pretend to know what the answer is or have the solution to solve all of this. I just know that the trend of all the layoffs that have happened this year is very concerning for a person that is an expert in the field of employee turnover and of job creation.
So Dalton, Georgia might be in the running for their own taste of FAFO. This is a community that's called the self-proclaimed carpet capital of the world. And this is right in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. And they have a huge Hispanic population. In fact, their self-proclaimed carpet capital of the world is basically, you know, the Hispanic population is a large contributor to that, let me just say.
Georgia, the state on the rise, and also the state that has given me more than 3 speeding tickets, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We are here to mention their 8th strongest economy in the United States, $700 billion, 20th on the planet if it were its own country. Yet, median income, bottom half, teacher salaries, bottom half. Many school districts reporting they are struggling to maintain talent because they're going broke. More than half of their hospitals say the same thing. They're going broke. Let's see, what else do we have here? 40% of their rural counties have no birthing centers to speak of. 60% of Georgians have to drive a half hour or more for medical care. Only 36% of its rural counties have a labor and delivery unit to speak of any kind. Yet, they found $110 million for Cop City. I don't know how many urgent cares you could have built with that, but I guess we'll never know.
So my husband is from Vidalia, Georgia, which is a little hop and a skip away from Ellabelle, Georgia, which is where the Hyundai plant is. Let me tell you this right now. Nobody down there knows how to build a Korean car, let alone a Korean facility. All right? So you guys are just pissed off and calling ICE because you guys weren't offered the job. Sorry that the meth down there got in your way, but goddamn, Hyundai did not have to choose Georgia. Hyundai could have chose anywhere else. They decided to choose Georgia, and you guys fucked it up. That's 8,500 jobs that you guys put at jeopardy because you guys were jealous that somebody was working and you weren't. Make it make sense, y'all. Not to mention that 90% of your economy comes from Vidalia onions down there, okay? And guess who picks those Vidalia onions? Brown people, not white people, because you guys won't do it. Y'all won't do it. A lot of you guys don't realize that those Koreans that were sent over here to build the facility were also here to train the people who live here so that they could go and live a great life building Hyundai cars. But not anymore, y'all. Nope.
I don't know how true this is, but I just found out that a lot of Koreans in Georgia voted for Donald Trump. There's no way for me to find out how many Koreans voted for Donald Trump, but it's just mind-blowing. It's just shocking that some Koreans is that stupid. Oh my goodness, I can't believe. I thought we are better than that, but apparently not. If you're Korean American and you voted for Donald Trump, shame on you, and you're fucking dumb.
That called ICE on the Hyundai plant, the South Korea Hyundai plant, that we begged them for years to come here. That is supposed to bring at least $21 billion to Georgia.
This message is for any Asian MAGA out there. We're next. I want to remind you that we are closer to the undocumented immigrants that are being deported right now than we are to them.
Warrant for this entire construction site, okay? Our Homeland Security, we have a search warrant for the whole site. We need construction to cease immediately. We need all work to end on the site right now.
Asian Americans did not overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump, but you know who did? Korean Americans did, specifically in Georgia. And why does that matter? Because of what happened in Georgia the other day. Now, the last time I called out Korean Americans for their vote for Trump, I got called a lot of things on this app, in my comments and in my DMs, from other Asians. So I will say this, it wasn't all Asians, it wasn't even a majority of Asians, but it was 64% of Korean Americans in Georgia, and that is relevant to this conversation. Because those factory workers, those Korean nationals who are now having to deal with a legal nightmare, probably lost wages because you think Hyundai is paying for them while they're being detained. It was their cousins, their American cousins, who made all of this possible. I've said for a while that Korean Americans have attached themselves to whiteness. Korean Americans have attached themselves to this idea that they're better than other Asians and better than other people of color. Not all Koreans feel this way. I certainly did not grow up feeling this way. My family does not feel this way. Don't come at me. If this isn't you, congratulations, you're one of the good ones. But I'm telling you, 64% of Korean Americans in Georgia voted for Donald Trump. And I'm speaking to them specifically. They will never see you as American. The Red Hatters, they will never see you as an equal member of society. And that might actually be okay with some of you because you have placed them at a higher status than even yourself. And you put your cousins in trouble because of it. Now, the reason some Korean Americans gave for their vote for Trump was for the economy, immigration, and wokeness. And I have to assume that some Korean Americans in Georgia who voted for Trump might start to be waking up.
I seen up on the social medias that there's quite a few of y'all that's getting off the Trump train now. And I could tell by the way that it was because they were upset about being manipulated and played like that. They didn't like that. They felt humiliated and angry about the whole situation. And you should be, you really should be. I mean, I actually got up in the comments and stuff, was looking in there, and there was a whole bunch more agreeing with them. So it ain't just the people that's making the videos. There's a whole lot more people out there that's saying, yep, we were played and we were lied to. So look, if you're still on the Trump train, you look around, you're sitting there with Nazis and idiots now. That's all that's left on there anymore, okay? But for all y'all that's getting off there, look, that's all we was trying to do is tell y'all that the whole time, whenever y'all was riding by on the train and we was waving and stuff, y'all flipped us off, flipped us off and was calling us names like Democrats and libtards and stuff like that. We was just like, hey man, we just want to tell you, you don't want to be on that. That dude's lying to y'all, and y'all hated us for it. But we was just trying to help y'all, because if you get right down to it, we're all upset about the same thing. We are. I mean, minus the racisms and the homophobias and stuff, which I don't never get. I don't understand that. I mean, as much as y'all crash Grindr servers and stuff, you wouldn't think you'd be mad at people for being gay. And then the black folks and the brown folks and stuff. I mean, I've never understood that either. Why you hate somebody because they got more melanin in their skin than you do. And you don't even hate people for having more money than you, but you hate somebody for having more melanin than you. That right there confuses up on me for doing that, But you're not even allowed to be mad at people for having more money, but I mean, y'all just hate on people for having more melanin. That's a weird thing to do, So anyway, and so we don't agree on that, but the thing, I don't even understand why you do it, because it don't happen in nature that way. Animals don't behave that way. Even fish don't behave that. I went fishing and I caught a black drum and a whiting and I put it in a 5-gallon bucket of water together, and I watched them little two dudes swim around each other for a while. They weren't fighting, they weren't yelling at each other, wasn't beating each other with their flippers or nothing like that. Weren't finning each other, biting each other. They making googly eyes at each other and stuff like that. That's what they was doing. I think they liked each other a lot. Really, they got along good. But now the blue crab that was in the bottom of the bucket, he didn't like either one of them son bitches at all. And you could tell by the way that it was, because he had his blue pinchers up there going like that right there, and they didn't appreciate that either. They didn't care for the blue crab. The blue crab didn't care for them. So that's y'all, Team Taco. That's y'all. You're blue crabs is what you are, wearing red hats. That's what you are. You always got your pinchers up there going and foaming at the mouth all the time.
The stories shared today offer a deeper look into the struggles unfolding across Georgia. Behind every headline is a family trying to adapt, a worker fighting to stay afloat, and a community feeling the weight of economic change. These voices remind us just how complex and personal this moment is for so many people. If these first-hand accounts helped you better understand what's happening, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to keep the conversation going. And click the video on your screen to see what's happening in other states across America. Every story adds to the bigger picture.